Hey everyone, I wanted to share a little bit about the things that I love about our multi-cooker, which is a pressure cooker. So if you are someone who is brand new to pressure cooking, it is not your grandma's pressure cooker. It's not going to explode all over the place, and it is really, really fast. And I'm one of those people that I don't decide what I'm going to eat for dinner till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And this bad boy saves me all the time. So let's get into it and let's start talking. So it is a 6-quart pressure cooker, and you can do so many things in it. First of all, when you turn it on, it defaults to the custom setting and all of the bells and whistles come on. When you turn the lid, it's gonna sing to you to let you know it's open. And when you close it back, it will do the exact same thing, but we're gonna go ahead and open it. So Doris Christopher, who is our founder, is left-handed. So she always tries to do things for left and right-handed people. There is an actual slot here to hold your lid, and it's also on the other side, which is hard for you to see, but there you go. So you can put it into 2 places and you can see it in both spots. But right now we're just gonna kind of talk about the features and how easy it is. When you are pressure cooking, you are going to want to do at least 1 cup of liquid. So by liquid, I mean broth, wine, water. It has to be something that is super, super thin. It cannot be things like tomato paste or tomato sauce. It's too thick and it will burn your food. So you definitely have to have at least 1 cup of water. It's what brings everything to pressure. So as we're going through this, we'll talk about all the different features, but definitely make sure that whenever you're putting together a recipe, usually if it's a pressure cooker recipe, it will automatically do that for you. But if you're getting creative and doing your own, you're gonna wanna go ahead and put at least 1 cup of water. Typically, the 1 cup of water goes on the bottom. So if you are doing this and you are putting something like eggs in here and they're gonna go on a rack, you're gonna want the water to be underneath it. If you're gonna do this and you're doing a cheesecake and you need the water to be underneath it. So we'll go ahead and show you some of the accessories that go with it as well. Okay, so now we're gonna talk accessories. The accessories are going to make everything customizable and so much more fun. We end up having a ceramic pot. It's got this great lid on it that actually has little air holes here so you can let steam vent and so forth. In here I put rice, vegetables, potatoes, all kinds of different things I wanna keep contained, especially if I've got seasoning on them or a sauce. We actually also have this rack. So what you'll do is you'll take your pot, stick it on the rack, and then pull it up on the sides and put it right down inside of here. No more like making a tinfoil sling to have to worry about pulling something out. You can easily grab both of these with a hot pad, of course, and you'll make sure that that comes out super fast. We have a silicone egg bite maker. So if you are someone who likes to make egg molds or even tiny little cheesecakes, you can do this. So you would take this and you'd put a little bit of oil or a little bit of bacon grease or whatever you like in here, do your eggs. I usually take my eggs, I'll put them with a little cottage cheese, a little bit of spinach and tomatoes, and then I'll put it in here. You wanna make sure that you give it room to expand, so don't fill it all the way full. Put the lid on it, and again with the rack, you would take it and you would put it right down inside of the pot. So the rack goes like this, it would go right down inside of here, and then when they're finished, they're easier to remove. So as I mentioned before, this type of stuff would have to have some sort of liquid underneath, so that's exactly what you're looking for. We do have this rack right here that comes with the pressure cooker. So if I wanted to make something like a little bit of potatoes, but I wanted to put some meat or something else underneath it, you can actually double stack and take it this way and put it in, and it would stack up like that as well. So just so you know that you can have that option if you'd like it. The final accessory is so much fun. It's our fluted cake pan. So if you wanted to make something fun like a nice little sponge cake or maybe like a pumpkin loaf or something like that, you can do this. It actually has a little stand on the bottom so you don't have to worry about it getting down inside the water, and it will cook everything perfectly for you. There is a dessert setting on here, and we'll go over those settings in a minute. Also, Pampered Chef does sell replacement rings, and here's what you'll need them for. I use this ring for my dessert, and I use the clear ring as my savory. That way they switch out, because every once in a while these will take on the flavors, and if you don't soak them really well, you definitely don't want onion flavored cheesecake. So I recommend taking them out, washing them, letting them dry, and then when you put them back in, make sure that they're seated really, really well all the way around, because that's the number one thing, that if you don't seed your rack or your rings in here, then steam's gonna escape, and then you'll know you're doing something wrong. One of my favorite things about Pampered Chef is that they're all about safety. So if you notice, the release valve for your pressure is up here, but when you push the button down here, that is what's gonna actually release your pressure. You have two choices. You can naturally release your pressure, which means that for about 10 minutes, you just kind of let it release on its own. You'll still need to release it, but it won't be as pressurized. Or you can actually go ahead and press this button and it will release for you. It usually kicks to the left, and sometimes I will put like a little towel over top just so that I don't get steam everywhere. This is the other reason that you don't want to fill your pressure cooker too full, because if you do, then it is going to come out the top. So there is a fill line on this inside pot here. I think you can see it right there. And that fill line, you shouldn't go over it. So just that's the reason they try to have you do that. So let's talk about some of the presets. Obviously there's a custom setting, and you can make things however you need to. So if you're doing a recipe that isn't a standard tried and true, or if you're not gonna use a preset, that's what you would use it for. There's a sear setting. Basically it's a saute setting. So if I turn on sear, the bottom of this pot is gonna get really warm. If I wanna brown my pot roast or roast my onions or do something like that, you can do it. I would recommend putting in just a little bit of oil or a little bit of butter just in the bottom so that everything kind of comes together very easily. So an egg setting is what I would use if I was doing the silicone egg cooker. And you can also do eggs for when you're doing hard-boiled eggs. So you've got this rack right here. If I wanted to, I'd stick it in here. I'd stick my hard-boiled eggs on here, and I would put my water at the bottom, and I would let it set for the setting. And I would go ahead and naturally pressure release it, take my eggs out, and put it in cold water. The poultry, beef and pork, and seafood setting are pretty self-explanatory. If I'm steaming something like seafood, I'm only gonna do it for a minute, because it does take a little while to come to pressure, which means it's still heating on the inside. So just so you know, if you're gonna do something that is delicate seafood and you wanna steam it, just very, very quickly, and always we have great recipes for that on pamperedchef.com. Finally, we do have a white rice and a whole grain. So if you are doing quinoa or white rice or brown rice, all of those options are here as well. I would normally do my brown rice or my quinoa inside of the ceramic dish, just because I like to keep it contained. However, if I wanted to do, so you would do, the water underneath to steam it, and then of course you need water inside your rice to do it there. But if I wanted to do chicken stock in there and then water underneath, I could do it. If I'm doing a lot of rice, I could do that as well. The soup, the beans, and the dessert setting are all spectacular. I make soup in about 7 minutes, very, very easy. Tomato, vegetable stock, basil, onion, and I will go ahead and let it pressure cook. I will immersion blend it, and then I will go ahead and release it, add a little bit of cream, and I have a beautiful cream of tomato soup. Just fantastic. You can also roast your onions and your tomatoes and your basil and your garlic beforehand if you wanted to. The dessert setting makes a cheesecake. We used to do a cheesecake pot or pan for it, and actually I think I have it right here, and we don't anymore, but there is a standard one that you can find on Amazon, and it fits inside of here because most of the pressure cookers are the exact same size. The slow cook setting is very easy. You just want to make sure that you're not opening it up and peeking like you would normally do, and you can just put this lid on it and do your slow cook in here. I prefer to pressure cook just because I like to get things done quicker, and I feel like the flavors are actually better, so I choose to use the pressure cook setting. Then there's a sous vide setting. So if you're not familiar with sous vide, you can actually cook your food under the water. So what you would do is put it in a plastic bag or one of our resealable silicone bags, take all of the air out and stick it in here. I make steaks beautifully in here. It takes about 90 minutes for it to cook all the way through, but when I'm done, I can actually take it out, dry the meat, just sear it off on a cast iron, and it's absolutely perfect. medium all the way through, or however temperature you like. And finally, there is a yogurt and a sterilized setting. If you have extra milk and you don't know what to do with it and you've got a little yogurt, throw in the milk in here. It's 8 cups of milk, about a 1/4 cup of regular yogurt. And what you'll do is you'll let this come to heat on the sear setting. When it comes to heat, it's going to be about 180 degrees. And then you're gonna turn it off. It's gonna back itself down to about 105 degrees. And when that's ready, you take the warm milk, put it in with your regular yogurt cultures, and you'll go ahead and spin that up, and so that it will go ahead and disperse in here very evenly. When you're finished, you can also add a little vanilla. You could add strawberry, whatever you want to it, but it's going to give you perfectly amazing Greek yogurt in about 8 hours, and you're not wasting that leftover milk that you need to use up. The sterilized setting is obviously for doing bottles or jars, things like that. Just fantastic. So some of the things that you'll want to know as well, that in the back of here, we have a cord wrap. So you can actually wrap your cord way back there, if you can see that. And there is an on-off button. There's a little protective cover on the back. Make sure that you don't take that off. Leave that there, because if any water drips down the back, you don't want it getting into your on-off button. There's a little well back here, and the well actually collects water for you, so that when everything drips down here, it's just going right in here, and then you can just dry that off. I use this for so many things, especially in the winter time. Chili in 45 minutes, risotto in 7 minutes, soup in 10 minutes. So fast, delicious, and I know you're gonna be excited to get yours too. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. Let's get cooking together. Okay, are they gone? All right, it's just you and me. I'm gonna tell you a couple of tricks that I think that is really important for you to know. You can get that for 50 to 60% off by hosting your own show. It is a super easy thing to do, virtually, in person. I would happily do this for you because we're friends. Now, if you also want to host a show and earn commission on that show, you should join Pampered Chef. The deal to join right now is amazing. It's always amazing. Great company, great people, great products, great, amazing time to be with Pampered Chef. And I would love to have you on my team. So if you think that you want to do that, let me know, and we'll take care of that together.